What's good, YouTube? This is Ray Jarrell. So in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about how to beat the meta man coverage in Madden 23. So if you enjoy this video, go and drop a like on the video right now. Go ahead and sub and turn on post notifications on. So first and foremost, all you guys that watch my channel who I have subbed for in the past, I truly appreciate you guys. It's actually really cool to be able to walk around and some of you guys let me know that you watch my channel. I really appreciate you guys. So just want to say thank you. But moving forward, I want to talk to you guys about how to actually beat this man coverage meta. And I should have been did a video on this a long time ago, but I want to use this now to make a video on it. So those of you guys that don't know what the man coverage meta is, I'm actually going to use an example from the 3-3-5 normal formation. And the reason why is because we're going to be able to have safeties at the linebacker positions, which is why it's an extremely popular defense. Now, the most meta defense, what they're going to do is I'm going to use cover one robber press because it's the most notable one. Now, before I do, there's something that's really important that I have to talk about. And what that's going to be is going to be zone drops. So, I actually don't think that we can, okay, there it goes. So with zone drop, normally your people are going to put their flats, so their hard flats or whatever, they're normally going to put those on 0 or 5, maybe 10, but normally you're going to see 5s, and normally your curl flats are going to be your deeper ones, so 25s or 20. Now I'm going to leave it on 25 because normally you're going to see 25 5s, or you may see 25-10, or sometimes you may see 25-0, or you may see 20, and then the same things that I just said, right? So normally standard, most people are going to put them at 25 for their purples, and they're going to put their hard flats or their flats at 5 or 0. So we'll do it this way, and what we're going to do here is we're going to go back to 3-3-5 normal, and we're going to go to cover one robber press, because to understand how to beat this defense, you have to understand what to look for, okay? Now, this is actually the most important part of this video, okay? So I really need you to pay attention right here. So the most important part to this video is you have to find a formation that has certain qualifications that can beat this man coverage, right? So what you're looking for is you're looking for a formation that's gonna have a deep post. So if you see inside cross right here, notice how it has a deep post. You're looking for a deep post, you're looking for a deep corner route, you're looking for an intermediate route, and you're looking for a short route that all beats man coverage. So we can use inside cross, we can use switch forks, and I'm gonna kind of alter through some of these different formations. So it's gonna be a lot of back and forth, okay? Because it's extremely important that you understand. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to switch fork, and we're gonna come out in that. So again, what I'm gonna do here is back the ball up, and the most important part when it comes to formations is you need to first look for deep routes, and then actually I'm gonna back out of this because I need to talk about something else. So you want to look for deep routes, and you want to look at personnel. So for personnel, let's kind of take a step back here and just kind of take a look at it. So for personnel, whoever is running the deeper man beaten routes, normally you need to pay attention to who's right there, because personnel is the most important part to beating man coverage, no matter if it's current or next gen. Now, next thing you need to look at is run plays. Does the formation that you want to run have different run plays? So what I mean by that is this one has halfback base and this one has halfback draw, but notice how there's no inside zone, there's no different run plays. So can this run play find a gap in the man coverage, right? So that's one thing you have to notate, and also you have to pay attention. Where are all my deep routes being ran? So do I have a play where I have a deep route on the right side of the field, a left side of the field? So this one, switch fork and inside cross, have two deeper routes that can beat man coverage, right? So what I'm gonna do is come out and switch fork, and what I'm gonna do here is actually come out and cover one robber press. Now the most popular defense, no matter what formation it is, okay, it doesn't matter. If your opponent's gonna play 25-yard purples, what they're normally gonna do is they're gonna take their top player, right? They're gonna put him in a purple. Then they're gonna take this guy right here, and they're either gonna user him, and they're gonna take the square route right here. They're gonna put him either in a hard flat, or they're gonna put him in a purple. So you're gonna get this defense where they play 25 yards and they're gonna user, or they may shade down and then shade up and press, and now they're going to have their flats at 5. So it all depends on, so you're either gonna see this defense where they're at 5s, or you're gonna see it where they're one's at 5, one's at 25, or it may be the other way around where it's like this. So it all depends on your opponent, right? Now you also will see defenses that look like this, where they'll put this guy on this side and they'll user the running back, or what, they'll put it they'll put a hard flat on this side, and then they'll actually do it this way, where we have this guy right here in a hard flat. So you'll see either one of these, or you'll see this. Now, why am I telling you all this, right? I'm telling you all this because you need to understand what your opponents can do, okay? But the most popular one is this one right here, where they're gonna rush 3 people, and they're gonna play man coverage, either, you know, like this, or they're gonna do, you know, like this right here. So long story short, this is what you're gonna see, right? So first and foremost, where's your personnel at, okay? And again, this is not so much worried about what routes, you know, this is not me saying, hey, set this up like this with this particular formation and you'll beat man coverage with purples. You know, this is not what this video is for. This video is so you can, your mind, you need to understand what you're looking for in the offense, right? So what did I say was the most important thing? Personnel, personnel, personnel. So this square route right here, he can beat man coverage. Why? Because it's a post route. Post routes beat man coverage. So you need to find out who your best athletes are and who is, you know, man coverage. So basically what I mean here is that this in route, you need to figure out what your natural man beating route is. In this case, it's square, because this is a post route. We need something that's going to attack deep. We need something that's going to attack in the middle. So this route right here can attack in the middle, right? And we need something that can attack short, right? And they all have to be man beating routes. So what beats man coverage in Madden is post routes, corner routes, but they have to be a man beating corner route. This is a zone beating corner route. And also in routes beat man coverage. Now also what else beats man coverage is zig routes. So if I wanted to use this play right here is actually perfect for beating man coverage, like perfect. Why? Because we have an in route that beats man coverage, zig routes beats man coverage short. Okay, so let's do it this way. In routes beat man coverage in the middle, zig routes beat man coverage to the outside short, corner routes can beat man coverage to the outside intermediate, and post routes beat man coverage deep. So this is a good man beating play. Why? Because every single route can beat man coverage. Now if you want to be if you ever have a corner route that's not a man beating route, all you need to do is figure out if it motions or not. So when we motion them, now it's going to turn into a post. Can you see it? So now if we were to snap this ball, notice what the user has to do. So normally they're going to be aggressive here. They're going to come back, and then look at squares. So a lot of times you can attack square, and I did that with one arm, and also it's personnel based. But you have to, if we're talking about man with purples, no matter what they're playing, you have to have a deep developing route, and it has to be somebody who can win. So notice how right here he's actually running away from him, but if we put somebody better there, we'll be able to get more separation, right? And right here, the same example, right? So what did I say? In routes can beat man coverage. So notice how we could have threw that. And now notice right here where they're going to kind of bump into each other. But since he's actually keeping up with him, that's not really a good option. But look at our best route runner here. Look at how he's able to get separation. He does get a bump. But what's most important that you're understanding is that you want to set yourself up to have good options. Now also, this route right here can beat man coverage as well. It all depends on what, you know, what they're playing, right? Now, the next thing that I said was important too was what? Being able to run the ball, because a lot of times the defense will look like this. A lot of times they'll probably pinch their line, spread their linebackers. You see this defense a lot, or they may even bring their linebackers. They're not gonna let me bring them in, but let's base them out real quick. So normally you'll see this defense as well too, right? Now it's really important to establish a run. You have to find a run play that's going to make it hard for them, right? Because a lot of times they're going to use their safety. So let's see if this is a good run play, because a lot of times they're going to come here, and notice how there's not really running room, right? But you have to try out different run plays, okay? Now let's take this a step further, okay? And I want to show you something. So you can find this in any formation, okay? Any formation. This isn't specific to one formation. So let's do doubles flex. I just pressed to the next formation. Does this formation have any deeper developing routes, right? So any post, do you see any? Because I don't. So the only thing that's close is corners. But if we take a look at what corners looks like, we'll see that that post route isn't as deep. So let's set defense up how we want it. All right, so let's just do this real quick, something like that, right? Now, look at this post route. Can this post route clear man coverage, right? No, it's not ran deep enough. But if I wanted to make this a man-beaten play, all I need to do is follow a simple concept, a simple code. That's the whole point of this video. You need one route that's developing deep. right? So we can say that circle is deep. We need one route that's developing it in the middle, right? So let's take square, let's put them on the in route. Let's smart route is in route. So now we have, you don't need to do in routes either. So if you have hot route master, you can maybe do a crosser route. You can do a post route. You know, you don't have to do in routes. In routes are just good if you don't have any route chems on them. So we have an intermediate route in the middle, right? So do we have a short route beating man cover? We have this little inside little zig route. Now, what if I was to take X and actually put him, I thought he had a tight end in front, my bad. So I can actually take triangle, put him on a slant, and I can take X right here and maybe just put him on a drag route. So now drag routes beat man coverage, slants beat man coverage. So what can I do now? I can technically run this just like this if I want to. And what's going to happen here is that our user is going to follow somewhere. He might follow the slant, but look what we have is we can have square, or we could have threw the slant, right? So the point of this is so you can understand that the reason that this play wasn't as good is because we had no deeper routes developing across the middle of the field. So this post route that we thought was going to be deep, look at how it wasn't ran deep. And the reason this is important because look, if we had something attacking deep, there's nobody here. So you want the best player to run that deeper developing route, and that is the key to beating man coverage. No matter what shell they have, you have to follow this pattern, right? So let's go to something like trips tight end, because this is a really popular formation, but you might not understand why this formation is popular. So the reason why this formation is popular is because let's go to something like let's see. Oh, this is the one that doesn't have it. So let's keep looking, right? So let's go to doubles Y flex. So let's go to PA deep out. So this is a really good play. Now, let me explain to you why. Because we follow a simple system when we talk about how to beat man coverage, right? So, don't mind this. So these guys are in purples right here, but Madden does the thing where they won't show your stuff sometimes. But anyways, we have a deep developing route, right? So this needs to be your best player who's running this route. Now, what else beats man coverage, right? So we have a deep beating man coverage, right? So now we need an intermediate. Now, in routes beat man coverage intermediate. So we can actually leave him, and you can smart route him if you want to make it ran deeper. It's up to you. So we have a deep route that's going to beat man coverage. We have an intermediate route, which means in the middle. Now, we need a short route to beat man coverage, right? So what we can do is we can actually find our best matchup. So notice our best players right here. We can actually take him and put him on a slant, right? And so we can actually just motion him. He should be able to motion across, yep. So we'll motion him across, and look what we have here. So now we have what? We have square, we have X, and then we also could have triangle. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that when you do this, you never want to have both of your routes running from the same side. So I should have actually put him on another route, and we'll talk about that here in a second, because notice how these two are running right side by side. You never want that. Never, never, never. Because what can happen is your user will be able to just guard both of these routes right here. So technically that was a terrible example. You never want that, okay? Never. So you always want spacing, and how do you create that? So let's just do this right here. We'll go hard flats this time too, and we'll shade over the top, right? So it's still 5 yards. So when you're putting routes together, you need a deep route, you need a short route. So what I could have done was take X, I could have put him on a zig, and I could have taken square and put him on a slant and motion him across. That is a better setup. Now, why is this a better setup, okay? And it's for the reason why this is a better setup, because now I can actually take I can actually look short because I'll have X on this zig route if I want it. Now I have an intermediate route because this slant works as an intermediate route, and I have a deeper developing route. Now, if you want to put circle on something else, one thing I would do is put them on a drag. So now we have two quick routes. We have X and we have circle on our quick reads. Now, square is going to be our intermediate, and triangle is our deep. Now, you have to keep this system in mind, because what happens here is that the user is going to guard short a lot of times, and then what's going to happen here is that triangle is going to be the read that you're going to have to make. Why? Because we have a deeper developing man coverage beating route. So that is what it takes. It takes a deep developing route, an intermediate, and a short route, and all those routes have to beat man coverage. That is the only way you beat man with purples. And also, you have to remember to run the ball. You have to run the ball. You have to see which run plays are going to work the best versus their defensive formation they're in. So what I mean by that is, notice how we have inside zone. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to halfback base, and I'm going to set up the same style man coverage, right? Because you can't be afraid to test out the run versus man coverage, you can't, or you're gonna beat yourself and not even realize it. So so right here, you know, sometimes your defense may shift, you know, they may do things, but most of the time they're gonna just kind of stay in the middle. So we're going to base the line and then pinch our linebackers to get them back in the middle. Now you can't be scared, because a lot of times they're going to try to fill the gap with their user, but so have that base. It isn't a good run play versus it, right? So what you have to do is understand that there's more run plays, right? So we can go to inside zone. Maybe inside zone is a better, you know, better run play versus this style of defense. So then that's where you have to test out. You can't be scared to test. So notice how right here, now I wasn't using it on the controller, I was using it on the defensive controller. So maybe inside zone has more success. Now, other things you can do, you can audible to different formations to find better run plays, okay? Don't be scared to do that. Maybe you can audible down, maybe you have the ability to audible down to a single back formation, and now guess what you can do? You can audible down to a single back formation, right? So maybe you could try to find a run play in single back that will let you you know, gain more yards. Obviously, if I was controlling the controller, I would have went outside. Now let's take this a step further, right? So another thing you can do is, if you know you want to audible down to a formation because you're having a hard time with the let's say I wanted to run you know what, let me show you what I can talk about, so that way I don't confuse you guys. So let's go to man coverage. Let's go to right here. So let's say I wanted to do that again, right? So let's say I ran this single back wide trips and I had a really good success on this run play, right? So what you can do is, so it was single back wide trips, right? So what I can do is I can actually go to single back wide trips. So let's go to single back wide trips, and what I can do is I can start to look, does this formation have man beating routes? So PA stretch, this looks like a man beating post route. Let's see what else they have, right? So they also have this wide receiver post, right? So that looks like a really good play. So what I can do is, why is it a good play? It has a deeper developing post route, it has an intermediate route, and it has a short route. So what I can do is I can actually grab that play, I can throw it in my audibles, right? So wide receiver post, and let's see if they have any more run plays. They have this stretch alert lookie. So what I can do is I can actually sub in, instead of the stick play, we can go ahead and put this stretch alert lookie to see if that's a good run play, right? And they have 4 verticals, but let's see if we have another man beating play, which is the PA stretch. So let's do it that way, right? So now I can actually come back to the same formation that I came out in. So my opponent has no idea, right? And keep in mind, you can still pass from this formation, okay? So what your opponent's gonna do, they're gonna come out in the same man defense, right? And then they're gonna set it up the same way. And they may adjust the zone drops, but that's okay, right? So what we'll do now is we'll come back to audible and down, and we'll go to wide receiver post, right? Because they're thinking we're gonna run the ball, right? So what we can do, and this is just called being a smart Madden player, right? So we have a deeper developing post route, we have an intermediate, and we have a short. Now what you can do is you could take square and put him on the drag, or you could put him on a slant, something that's going to hold the user in the middle of the field, because you need to hold that user. So again, you can run stuff like this, because now the user may come down, he may follow this, and then look at circle. Notice how circle can get open. Notice how R1. So it is all about personnel. Yes, personnel is extremely important, but it's also a little bit deeper than that. So that's what I was hoping to kind of unlock for you guys. You guys struggle with this defense, but you struggle because you're scared to try new things. And I'm telling you, that's the only way you win, is when you try new stuff. You can't allow your opponent to dictate the game. You have to take control of the game. So this is just a video just showing you guys it doesn't matter what formation, every single formation, not gonna say every single one formation, but there's a lot of formations that have natural man beaters. And if you understand this principle of short, you have to have something that's short and could beat man coverage, so drags are great. You have to have something intermediate, so your slants, your in routes, you know, your post routes, your crosser routes, you have to have those. And this is a crosser route as well, and they have to be running opposite of each other. So what I mean by that is, notice I have a slant and a crosser that cross each other. Crossing routes are going to do a great job of beating man coverage. So just keep that in mind, that's how another way. And also lastly, you need a deep option. You need to have a deep option, because sometimes things like that does happen when your opponents play purples. That can happen. It won't happen all the time, but it can. But either way, you need to give yourself a chance, and that's how you give yourself a chance to beat man coverage, when you have the purple. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for this video though. I do hope you guys have a blessed day. I'm Rage Real, and I'm out.